Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Rowan, the Lyranwitch. Today we're going to be doing another collective message. As we get started, I would like you to keep an open mind. This is going to be a crow message. If you're new here, the crows are the animal connection that light workers have to the truth of what's going on all around the world. They like to share things that will assist both the earth itself and the nature that we live around, as well as humanity, to be freed from any energetic or physical shackles, so to speak, and anything that is preventing the ascension process from continuing. That is what they reveal, so we're going to be hopping into a crow message today. Please come in with discernment, because this is a message for lots and lots of people. It is going to be timeless, so I may pick up on energies that are past, present, or future to you. If you would like to be considered for one of the 2 free readings that I will be giving away when I hit 1,000 subscribers, please don't forget to subscribe and leave a comment to be in the running. Okay, now let's hop in today and see what's going on. Before I started the message, the energy in the room got really hot, which is always Spirit's way of being like, it's go time. Like, I'm going to bring through a lot of energy today. So if you see orbs, don't be surprised. If things move during this reading, I would not be surprised. That's what usually tends to happen around me whenever I get hot like this. And it felt like a child came up behind me and tugged my clothes, which is really unusual. I don't have any child spirits anywhere where I live. And when I tapped into it and was asking my guides, what's this about? Who is this kid? It's like a little blonde kid. Okay. And they seem to switch genders when I was looking at them, so I know they're not a human spirit. I was told that it was like a cherub. And I'm like, I've never connected with a cherub. Okay. So I'm not sure what they're going to be sharing with us today, but I'm positive that Spirit will enlighten us in just a minute here. I even moved my hair when I sat down, which is really unusual. I'm being told to flip this. So we have Page of Swords in reverse, 9 of Swords in reverse, Equilibrium, which is Temperance, 4 of Wands reverse, 7 of Cups for Cauldrons in this deck, and the 2 of Wands and Page of Cauldrons in reverse, which are both going to be together here. So what I'm seeing is right now in the energy at the time that you're getting this, there's a force that is like a younger soul or an immature soul. This can also be like our ops or people who try to interfere with the ascension process, trying to prevent partnerships from coming into play and trying to prevent late ones from forming commitments of all sorts. And this is related to not only romantic relationships and divine partnerships in that way, but also the kind of divine partnerships that are your soulmate friends and your soulmate family, and the people who are going to assist you in bringing beautiful things into this world that bring in more healing for everybody on the ascension path. These forces were trying to bring a lot of anxiety, messing with sleep for a great number of people, and you have found ways around this. You've found so many ways around this that it's actually causing that energy they were sending to be righted. Because this energy is coming out as many, many people who don't know each other being influenced by sort of I want to say archonic force, because I'm seeing this pulse coming from something that's not on Earth, okay? It almost is reading to me as like from another, I want to say planet or another dimension in space, which is interesting because I have gotten that message before that certain very evil energies that have become manifest on Earth have their sort of galactic origins elsewhere, just as light workers often have galactic origins elsewhere. And we just keep reincarnating in different places. Yeah, so I'm reading this archonic force kind of sending out this pulse of new energies that are sprouting up in different ways here on this planet. However, this is being balanced out right now, not only by us as humans, but by our animal companions, by our connection to the earth and to the water and the sky. The earth itself is always working to write this energy as well, because she is not of that, of whatever those archonic forces are. Now, with this Two of Wands and Page of Cups both reverse here, it's almost like a back to the drawing board type of energy. How do we influence light workers' emotions when their emotions are cut off to us now, when they've become balanced, when they learn every workaround in the world to be able to sleep at night and not feel guilty about themselves because they know their purpose, they know who they are. I'm being drawn to the starling on this woman's shoulder, and they're almost bringing up how starlings can learn to mimic the human voice in a very realistic way. In a very, you wouldn't be able to tell that it was a bird speaking sometimes because they're so accurate at how they can mimic. And it's almost like these energies are mimicking through people at times, like body jumping. That's really what I'm feeling here. And it's almost like they're body jumping through these different, permeable energies, permeable people in your life who aren't yet grounded into their soul purpose or into love, and looking around and trying to figure out, how do we create this new reality here? It's almost like this watcher energy is moving through humans in a much different way than it did before. We've heard about watcher spirits, or monitor spirits, some people call them, as different energies in a home that are unseen. We've also heard of them as, coming up in insects or in animals around the place where you are. And negative magicians have done this for, thousands of years. However, these energies are not from somebody on Earth. These watcher spirits are from elsewhere. They're from something bigger. Because they cannot be complacent. I'm being told they can't be complacent because if the initial route that they took on Earth is no longer available to them, like the initial anchoring of this energy that they came in on is uprooted in the ethers, they won't be able to interfere with Earth at all anymore. This is a very desperate attempt to reestablish a dark equilibrium as we try to establish a good equilibrium. And they're scrambling and moving through humans now in a way they didn't before, because we've cleared a lot of the earth, a lot of the animals in such a way, and there's so many of us now doing this work and being able to clear the animals and the children and the humans around us, that they have to work through the people who are permeable to these negative energies. It's like these spirits will come into people, almost like go through the back of their head, which is what happens with mediums and channelers, and just look around or mimic the person as they would normally speak, or say things to kind of see how you'll react, gauge it, and then pull back out and leave and watch from somewhere else. It's almost like they're throwing wrenches in the gears right now just to see if the machine will right itself. So you're going to see some really strange behavior in the next, especially month, I'm hearing. There's something about the transits happening right now that is allowing these energies to attempt this. They're trying this in a different way. Because before, at least in my experience as I've seen it, entities could peek in through people before, certainly, but they were individual entities. They weren't connected to something bigger, usually. And those people had to be so far gone just either inebriated or completely dedicated to this kind of negativity, right? Really in some dark shit. And now it's like they're finding ways to hop into people who just don't know better. Because these are not the typical energies that we're watching before. These are higher level energies because it's like the small stuff can't get in anymore with the sun. You know, the sun's shining too brightly on the shadows. They had to call in the big boys now. And I really think that Archon is the correct term for this right now, because they're not, it's like these energies feel demonic, right? But they're not from hell, okay? Or whatever you want to call it, which, you know, to be clear with you, my guides have always told me that hell is a dimension, not a place, right? It's not a physical place, or it's not a place as we're taught, right? I just had 2 fire cards come out. It's not this like burning whatever place. It's a place where you can't, it's a place between worlds where you're not reborn. With the rebirth card coming up in reverse here. It's a place where you're cut off from that, Queen of Swords. And it's not like a final sentence. Anyone can prevail over those energies. That's what this, that's what all the Ascended Masters are really teaching. When any tradition speaks about eternal life, it's really just this idea that you can opt back in to the rebirth process, or you can opt back into being one with Source, with everything, right? Anytime that you want. Making it a commitment to be with Source energy in everything that you do. Not this, like, you know, King of Wands in reverse energy of being a tyrant or being crushed underfoot by a tyrant, right? You know, the idea of hell as this place where your passions drive you is not how it is, as I understand it, and as I've always been guided by Spirit. I've always been told that it's more so a inviting of hatred and a lack of love, because that's what Source is. Source is love and connection, unity, consciousness, 3 of Cups. But these archonic energies, this is almost like their soul origin point, and it's showing up as a different place in the universe, maybe a different dimension, but they're almost reading as like ET-like energies to me right now. Now let's tap back in and see what else I'm being told here. Why is this cherub coming through before the reading, please? Okay, I'm being told by my guides and by the crow spirit that the reason that this, like, you know, child angel is coming up is because it's really important to work with any children in your life right now. Like children and young teenagers especially might have more issues this month than they did before because of these archonic energies that are like peeking through people. So if you notice that your kid seems really like burdened or stressed out or is having trouble sleeping more than usual, do some extra protection for them. Definitely do some extra protection. Talk to them about their feelings, Queen of Cups. Just connect with them and help them to leave anything from the past behind, because there's going to be this current of energy coming through that's past hurts and past causes of guilt. And guilt is the, I'm hearing, neuropathway through which these things almost like slide in. It's really interesting. Like they actually are coming through as being connected to a series of thoughts that lead to a specific frequency vibration, and then they can slide in through that vibration. But they have to get the thoughts just right. Like they have to send that frequency and coerce this person or these kids into thinking, you know, the kind of negative things that would put them in the frequency where these beings can resonate with them and connect with them. because these are very low-level beings. And typically, light workers would not even be susceptible at all. But because these are children, they are more susceptible. They're vulnerable, right? So even if you don't have kids, what you can do is, everybody in this collective is coming up as a Queen of Pentacles energy. You're somebody who has the resources. Share this with the people you know who are in your life that have kids that get it. Obviously, not everybody's going to get it. But, even if your friends or family aren't spiritual and would have no fucking clue what any of this is, right? Talk to them about, asking if their kids are okay. Just bring up talking about their emotions. Ask them how things have been. Pray for them, send them your energy. Yeah, be the sword in the ethers that cuts through any interference that's coming through. You don't even have to know somebody with kids for this. Just keep children, especially, and teenagers in your prayers right now, because they're having to hold on to a lot. I feel like this younger wave of people that are coming in right now, like this younger wave of healers and light workers, has so much going against them because they're coming in with the heaviest frequency attacks that we've seen yet on this planet. And yet they're coming in with some of the highest vibrational gifts that we've ever seen. Things that would take us, 10, 20 years to master, these kids are coming in with right now. And that's because we are doing the heavy lifting, getting that stuff out of the way, just as the generations before us did for us, right? The stakes are higher each time. Now with the Queen of Wands here, even though these children are extremely high vibrational beings right now coming in, and, even some of the young people in their early 20s, late teens, early 20s, that are technically adults, they still need help, because even though they're coming in with these spiritual gifts, they need assistance with a lot of the physical stuff. And this group is coming up as Queen of Wands. You can do spell work to assist people with this. You can also kind of metaphorically wave your wand and teach them how things work in the world, right? You can give them advice that'll help them, because a lot of them are facing just intense, I'm hearing poverty, or housing issues, stuff like that. That's really making them feel emotional and stuck. There's not enough places where they can actually talk to people honestly about what they feel about our society. And there's not enough people around most kids, honestly, unless you're raising starseeds intentionally, right? Who can help them get on their life path, Wheel of Fortune, who really honestly understand the spiritual journey and, can help them, work with them on what they need. So if you've been called to support kids, work with young people, support them in some way, even talk about things that would help them on social media, you're coming up as the High Priestess. No matter what your gender doesn't matter for this. You're somebody who already learned to trust your intuition. Help them. Encourage them to trust theirs too, because they're undergoing testing. A lot of kids, even really young kids, are undergoing testing early right now, because there's going to be some crazy stuff coming in. I'm hearing 2032, something really big is going to happen that, I didn't want to get into this, spirit. Something really big is going to happen, COVID level, but I don't know what it is. They're not going to give me all the details, because this isn't about struggling right now. This is about bringing people together. This is about forming intentional communities, whether online or physically. There's going to be a lot more physical, though, I'll tell you that. But we have to set these kids up to be able to be part of this. We have to set them up to be able to be very grounded in spirit already, even if they're really young, so that by the time these things happen and the world goes through the next stage of Kali Yuga, because we're definitely in Kali Yuga, and we will be for quite some time. Many generations still. As we go through this, these kids have to be ready. This is boot camp. This is boot camp, because some of you, even if you're probably adults, most of my listeners are adults. This is actually a channel for 18 up, so if you're under 18, go away. I love you, but go away. You're not supposed to be here. I swear too much. But, you know, a lot of you actually have children or like very young people that are in your soul family that you're meant to connect with that are divine soulmates. And you're going to do light work together. And this isn't romantic, okay? So don't be creepy. This is soulmates in the fact that, like, everybody has many people that we come together with as soul family. And soulmates can be anybody in your life. Soulmates can be people that you mentor, you know, people that you teach. And I feel like a lot of you have that. Some of you, it's your children. Some of you, it's your nieces, nephews, nibblings, all that good stuff, right? But right now, you know, kids have a lot to deal with. Some of them are being taught this stuff, but they're seeing, you know, totally opposite information online, right? So talk to them about it. Ask them where they're feeling like their faith falters, or, you know, what they actually believe, because they might not have the same belief systems as you, and that's totally okay. But, you know, making sure that they feel grounded in how they're going to show up in the world is going to keep them from shutting down whenever basically the world shuts down. Yeah, with the death card here. There has to be a rebirth in how we're viewing younger generations. Like, there's all these generational wars right now of turning everybody against each other. You know, this one's lazy, that one's entitled, this one ruined the economy, that one's a piece of shit. I don't know who even knows what they're all saying now, but this is a real call from spirit to get over it. Like, really, get over it, because there's things to be planned. There's things to be planned in this world that will require all minds, all generations. And it's about making sure that you have everybody on the boat who has the correct jobs you'll need for the new place that we're going as a collective. The thing, though, that I'm being told is that with these younger kids, these younger energies that are under attack right now, or being targeted, I guess, the thing that they really need is permission to feel emotions other than existential dread. The amount of kids that are going through existential dread with, like, no way of explaining that, even super young kids can feel this, is staggering. And Spirit's like, everybody needs to give back and say, like, yes, we all feel this. How do we move forward from it? Remember, there are good things. Like, I've lived this long, right? Maybe it wasn't easy the whole time. Probably wasn't easy most of the time if you're a light worker, Jesus. But, you know, you need to teach your kids, and any kids that you come in contact with, any younger people, even on social media, we just generally need to teach them how to find joy again. And if you're struggling to find joy yourself, that's okay. You know, nobody's got it perfect. It takes time. And it's not an all the time thing. You know, peace is something that we can get to most of the time. But it's like climate instead of weather. You know, like your emotions are the weather, they change all the time. But as long as there's generally a climate of finding joy, you know, in your day, but mostly feeling peace, you're doing pretty good. You're doing pretty great. And it's okay to be looking for that. It's okay to be balancing things out, right? King of Cups. You're working with your emotions a lot. And you're gaining mastery with it. You're uniting with the other parts of yourself, your inner child, your inner teenager, your inner adult. You're bringing them all together. You're also coming together with divine partners. Be they friend, family, chosen family, romantic. And that's what we're going to switch to now. Thank you to that little angel that came through and brought that message about children. That was really interesting. And we're going to move on to, you want me to keep this out, to what I was saying about these other commitments that Spirit is trying to help us protect as this like new wave of weird archonic energy comes in and just tries some more shit because they're still vying for a place on Earth, right? And they're slowly but surely being kicked out of Earth, so very interesting. So, they told me to keep out Four of Wands, Wheel of Fortune, and the Lovers. They want to talk about divine unions. So, like, best friends, lovers, that type of energy. I just cut the deck, and they brought my attention to the King of Swords. We're going to talk about some people that you might have cut out of your life before. Let's get some more information. Holy cow, okay. Wow, okay. So, what has happened with a lot of you is, we have multiple divine partners in our lifetimes. Some of us have more than one that we're meant to be with, right? And some of us only have one, and that's all okay. There's no just one person for you, right? And if somebody messes up, and that's not your fault, Spirit's going to send you somebody better, right? Even if it is your fault, they're still going to send you somebody better as long as you make it right within yourself and as much as you can for the other person. So I'm seeing there was almost this starting over for a lot of you because somebody made you an option. Whoever you were connecting with, one of your main soul family that you've shared a lot of different lifetimes with, lifetimes where you learned ceremony and first connected to the divine, like as a very young soul. You kept coming in with this person, and it's like they made you an option in this lifetime. Like you didn't get the Two of Cups with them, and you were like, "What the fuck?" Like this brought you back to like just completely being confused about your thoughts, like doubting your intuition. Am I totally wrong? How did I think this person was the one for me? And for many of you, like I'm seeing the number 4. You could have been cut off from this person for 4 months for a lot of you, 4 years. For somebody, 40 years. Wow. But there's like this heart link between you because you're still soul family. It's very interesting. And it's kind of devastating to tap into, honestly. And, the 4 doesn't have to do with everybody here. But, with the 4 of Wands here, 4 is a significant number regardless. For some of you, you might see 444 a lot. We have the Chariot coming up right after this. They're saying that there's going to be a return. Somebody is coming towards you here. Now, is this a new person or the same person? I'm hearing same. This person has been balancing a lot of different thoughts for a long time. They've been kicking around this idea for so long that it's making them half crazy. They've been dragging around so many burdens, 10 of Wands, about this, and they're putting these burdens down slowly, and they're leaving them behind. Because they're putting this together, how this all works, that it really wasn't anybody's fault. That there's a lot of distortions in this world. This person didn't believe in any kind of energetic interference, the way that we understand it as people who go through spiritual warfare at times. And is sort of like the Earth's warriors, right? Because not everybody can see this stuff. Not everybody can sense it in the way that we can. Those of us who are equipped to sense spiritual warfare are the ones meant to take action against it. Some people would be too disturbed by it, so they're not allowed to see it. Seriously. And this person was one of those people. This came up in reverse with the Strength here. They were not in this powerful energy where they could have handled this stuff. So they were shielded from it, but they were also subject to it. This person didn't give enough to you, or overgave and then became resentful. And the reason is because they were under influence of this, like, very lustful energy. It's like a lustful energy that wanted to just rush forward for a lot of you. And this could have happened out of nowhere. Like, you could have been even married to this person, engaged to this person, and then their whole personality just, like, changed. And there was this tower moment. Something happened where it was, I'm hearing something was taken from you. It's going to be different for everybody, so please take it as it resonates. But something was taken from you, and it literally just could have been like your relationship was taken from you because you couldn't be with this person anymore. But they were under the influence of something else, okay? It was, you know, some people would call these demons. I don't love that term because I don't think that it captures what these distorted energies are. This is like, I'm going to use the term archon again. You know what an archon is? Look it up, because it's an energy of, like, lack. It's an inorganic energy. It's not something that's, like, alive as we are, right? It can't produce from itself, so it has to parasitize other energies. And that's exactly how I'm reading this distorted stuff that was affecting this person. Like, they were in this very heavy lack mentality, and really playing through a lot of traumas that other people, potentially their family, caused for them and built with them. It's like this whole, wow, a whole foundation of trauma I'm hearing, or a fortress of trauma. It's so weird. It has been built around this person by their family. And, you know, you couldn't get through. And when you did get through, when this lightning bolt hit the fortress, right, of their trauma, it was like everything exploded, and you had to be done with this person. Or they had to act like they were done with you as kind of a final affront against you. And your intuition was telling you that something was very wrong. And that it was almost like this person, you see how this crown is getting, like, thrown out here? It's like this person's psyche got to the back seat, and this other thing was driving them. This is happening to so many people, and this has happened to so many people. And it's something that you can't tell others, because literally they'll cut you out, or they'll think that you're crazy. Like, this isn't something that you can go and tell people. Like, hey, my partner has completely changed personalities. I'm pretty sure it's because they're under the influence of another entity. Like, who the fuck is going to understand that, right? But I see you. Like, there's so many of us, okay? And you're not crazy. For real. Like, obviously, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a psychiatrist. So maybe I shouldn't have said that for legal purposes. But, you know, go get yourself checked out if you really think you are. But I'm just saying, like, if you think this is what's happening, spiritually, that's what I'm picking up. Okay? So I'm being told that this is something that is going to be stopping. This is something that, it's like the archonic energies that I'm picking up on. As I was saying in the beginning of the reading, they're targeting younger, vulnerable energies now, like children, like sometimes the elderly, or like handicapped folks who, like, have mental, you know, infirmities and stuff like that. Those are the kind of beings that are being targeted right now, who really need help and support, and that's who we're being called to support. But for these divine partners that just completely got roped into some very strange backseat stuff, you know, like, I don't want to use the word possession because it's not like the movies, right? But this is essentially what this is. These people, if by virtue of just being traumatized, became so confused that these energies were able to come in, there's an army of angelic beings and guardians and protectors that are now coming forward and removing this from them. We are going to see a big shift in behavior. There's going to be people reaching out. Not because they need something from you, but because they want to make it right, a lot of them. This is a very wholesome type of energy that's coming through for these people, okay? Now, if you know for a fact that your divine partner was somebody who was just really interested in like very low vibrational stuff or like very violent stuff or whatever, and you're like, I think they might have chosen this though. I think they invited this thing in. Maybe they were doing negative spell work or something. It's really going to depend on how they come out in spiritual court, because I'm being told that these people are in spiritual court. They have been in spiritual court for the last 3 years. And especially the last year, they're beginning to see that. A lot of them are understanding to some degree, like, that something has changed. That what they've been putting out is now coming back to them. And even if they weren't spiritual before, they're starting to acknowledge there's something going on, right? And they know that you're the high priestess, and you probably know what's going on. And some of them have some pretty big egos and feel a little stupid coming back to you and saying, hey, I called you crazy, as a loving joke, or maybe not as a loving joke for the whole time I knew you, but what the fuck's going on? I think you actually know about this. I think I might be wrong. A lot of them are really putting off this conversation because they don't want to admit that. But they're seeing it. They have to see it. They had to start over. They had to pack all of their stuff into this little rucksack and take only their dog and get the hell out. The sword of truth has come in for these people through what they've had to go through in the past couple years. For some of them, just through being incredibly lonely, or starting a new relationship that was horrendous and realizing how much you meant to them. Some of them had a death in the family. They might have lost a parent. They might have lost a lot of resources taking care of someone. Might have been a lot of infighting around them. Whatever it was, a lot has happened since the last time you spoke to this person. And they've changed the whole way that they view magic now. Before, they really thought they could do whatever the hell they wanted. And they're like, wow, I have this skill that other people don't have. All I have to do is read some books and make some shit happen. I'll be fine. They have already, I'm hearing. It's not that they're doing this now. They already did this. They were the hangman for the last couple of years. And they realized that being the hangman doesn't just mean, oh, I'm chilling upside down on the tree, just rethinking my life. No, it's not like that. Odin was the hangman. He had to cut out his eye to get the information that he needed. To learn about spirit, he had to make sacrifices. He took damage doing this. And that's why he's in this uncomfortable position. This isn't a short-term thing. A hanged man isn't a minor arcana. It's a major arcana. It's an era, right? An era of life. And they really have entered that and come to terms with the fact that a lot of them were emperors in reverse, which is like abusers. Some of them became abusive, and when this thing was allowed into them, whether they allowed it or, by choice, by inviting it, right? Or by them just being really traumatized and being in a dark place, they're realizing now how they enabled themselves to continue a bunch of shitty behavior and became a person they're not proud of. They're realizing that they lost all of the things that made them feel really good about themselves. They used to be proud of the person they were, and they're definitely not now. And they see that you are glowing. And they are coming back in a wholesome energy. Now, I'm in no way saying that if somebody was an abuser to you, that you should let them back in. That's not what this is. This is for those of you who saw, like, behavior that was not good for you, right? And it just became toxic and you were done. You didn't want to stay caged. Yeah, you weren't about this devil energy. You're like, I'm not tied to you. Even if you were tied to this person, you're like, I'm a free agent later. Hopefully not later till you're better. But some of them feel like they were abusive to you, is what I'll say. They went through this moon energy and really got clear on how they were hurting and taking out their pain on you. And they want to talk to you about it. They want to admit some things. And as I was saying, it's because they were literally freed by spirit. Like, you know, these different angelic beings came in and waved the wand. Okay, we're all done with this. Like, you've learned enough. You are a divine being that was in... This is what they're saying to this person, not you. It's almost like they're saying, like, army reserves. Like, these are like earth warriors too, but they weren't awakened yet. This is like the army reserve, and they had to put them through boot camp now. Some of them are just starting boot camp, and some of them will be later. But regardless, they are coming to terms with what's happened and why they've been under so much negative influence, how they got left out in the cold in their own mind. Some of these people had... I don't know if I can say this on YouTube. I'm sorry, guys, I don't think I can say that. I need to figure out a way to, maybe I'll do it on Patreon. I keep forgetting to tell you guys I have Patreon. I was very active about 2 years, or a year ago, and I just started it again, and I'm, like, not in the habit of using it now, and I keep forgetting, but I have over 60-something videos, like 60-something videos on there. So I'll do an extended of this one for Patreon. But yeah, you can check that out. I can say pretty much whatever I want on Patreon, so we'll talk about it there. But anyway, sorry to, like, go off on that tangent. But basically, like, these people been through some shit. And this is somebody who you've had a lot of conflicting energy about. And they're showing up now as the Hierophant. You know, in this deck, it's the Druid, so a lot of you actually do have Druid connections, in past lives as a Druid, especially if you're in my collective, because, yeah. Yeah. You're the High Priestess, and they're the Hierophant. You understand, these two go together. This is a spiritual couple. But if you've had, like, extreme conflict about how you should have, like, saved this person, or, you know, I wish I would have known what I know now. Some of you know how to get rid of demons now. You just look at them and they fucking run, right? A lot of us do. You know what's up now. And I think at the time that you knew this person, they had this, like, beautiful energy to them. And then all of a sudden you saw it happen. And you're like, I don't know how to do this yet. And it wasn't for you to do. This person had to give themselves a rebirth. You're both healers, and you were healing yourself when this was happening. That's why you had to cut them off. So don't blame yourself. Let go of the guilt. The guilt is one of the frequencies that will have you cutting your own hands off, like trying to free yourself, you know? It's a very stuck energy. And there's a lot of things that want us to be stuck, so let it go. You know, a lot of you left religions, like organized religions and organizations that wanted you to feel guilty. Why do it to yourself? Like, you're free now. Yeah. Letting go of this. That got knocked out of my hand. Okay. This is so many. Alright, so I have this Four of Cups, right? There's an offer being considered, or there will be if this hasn't happened yet. And the death has already occurred. This has been a no contact from, I think, everyone who's receiving this part of the message. This has been a no contact for some time. There's been like a rebirth of this energy. You know, you've already changed yourself. You've looked at all the different ways this could have gone, and you're like, I have no idea. I'm okay with not knowing, I guess, because there's not much else I can do about it. And by I'm okay with it, I mean, it's not fun, but, you know, it is what it is kind of thing, like radical acceptance. Because what else are you going to do? With that Page of Swords, you might even have looked in on this person before. They might be looking in on you. I'm hearing yes. So, some creeping on social media, not in a gross way, but just in a, I hope this person's okay. Like, this was so abrupt. But ultimately, you moved on, right? And you gave up on the idea that they were ever going to let you know what the hell happened from their perspective. Because I feel like if they did give you an explanation and this wasn't the fastest thing, their explanation didn't make sense. You know, it's that kind of energy of them giving you just something, just to give it to you, and you're like, what? Like, why would that happen? You were totally different just not that long ago. And, you know, I feel like you've really thought back on this relationship and been like, am I just delusional? Like, what is this? Did I go too fast? Because for a lot of you, there was this, you know, this energy was that archonic disruption energy that was coming in through this person that was like forcing something to change really quickly and rushing through something that shouldn't have been rushed through. That's the main key, that the main link between all of these different scenarios across the collective is like, this was some kind of breakup of a divine union or partnership or like a beautiful friendship that had romantic feelings, where like you very well could have been partners in some way, but ultimately something was rushed through that needed to go slower in some way. Whether that was a conversation, an explanation, an apology, I don't know what it was for you, because it's going to be different. Use your discernment. But what needed to happen was a show that the other person still cared. They still had a lot of passion about your situation and you. And I don't mean sexual passion. I mean like love and the desire and drive to continue the relationship forward. But that's not what happened. And it left you completely devastated. This really wrecked you guys. And, you know, there's two groups here of how y'all handled it. Because in the one group, you're like, there's no way I can succeed here. I lost my Two of Cups. And I'm going to be my own lover now. Or you went with somebody else right away. And it actually was sort of like the divine replacement for this person, because this wasn't meant to be taken from you. This wasn't your karmic lesson or something. I mean, yes, there were lessons here to be learned, but that's why it was allowed to happen in the way it did. But, you know, as I always say, like, I don't think that fate is everything. There are things that just come in that take advantage of loopholes in this matrix, and this was one of them, and that's why it's being righted now. But you had somebody else come in that's like beautiful for you, you know, and some of you are still with them, and there's nothing wrong with that, because you can love more than one person. Like, love is an infinite resource. Seriously, this is a very positive channel. Your relationships are yours, and don't let anyone in this society tell you anything. But, you know, regardless of how it is, like, there's nothing to be ashamed of for loving two people as long as everybody agrees, okay? The other group was like, bye, got in the chariot, left, okay? You were chasing your sun energy, like you were being told by spirit where to go. You had spent all this time at this person's feet, like really looking up to them, and you finally got to this point where you're like, this is me and my guides cooperating. fuck this. Like, it's a really, like, chip on your shoulder type of energy. Like, you're like, I'm gonna blow this out of the pot, you know? Like, I'm just gonna, like, blow this out of the water now in my own life. I'm gonna go out on a limb here, and I'm gonna become the Hierophant. I'm gonna take charge of my life. Some of you became teachers or, like, mentors in some way. You know, and whichever way you handled it, it is what it is. It's okay, right? It's like one group took this very, like, passionate spiritual path, becoming a mentor. The other took a very peaceful and slower moving, but very beautiful shadow working path that led them to somebody wonderful. And some of you, it's a combination of both. But really, what brings all of these stories together is you freed yourself. You didn't have a connection to whether or not this person came back. I mean, I think there was always a part of you that was upset by it, right? And that's, of course you were. Like, you left in this energy of this person not giving you anything that made sense. And you kind of returned to this page energy after being a king or queen, you know? It's just a return to this idea of, like, I have no idea. I really thought I understood things, but I don't know shit. And now that this person is going to be coming back and communicating with you guys, you know, it's starting on the mental first. So a lot of you are getting telepathic messages because you are telepathic with this person in some way. This is, like, heavy. And I feel like this whole group is questioning it, okay? Like, questioning whether or not you are telepathic. I'm getting that you are. Like, obviously, if you're getting messages that are just not anything to do with something good or kind, and these are, like, very negative things, get checked out by a doctor, okay? Like, and I don't mean that in a bad way. There's no shame in that. But I am going to say it again. Like, I'm not a medical professional. This is for entertainment, okay? But I'm sensing this telepathic connection here. And a real indecision of whether or not you can believe yourself now, because this is all cast doubt on your intuition. That was the biggest thing that you went through with this person is, you know, it was kind of a double-edged sword, you know, literally a double-edged sword. Whenever this Archon came in, because it was like, okay, they get to feed off of somebody who hasn't awakened yet, which is great for them. They get all this energy, but they also got you to doubt yourself. You as somebody who would be easily able to clear them. And you've been holding on for dear life to your belief system and just really working through it. And for all of you here, it's led to you getting onto your North Node in some way. And it doesn't matter if your North Node isn't fully realized. I feel like you're on the path. You know, I see that you're abundant because I have the Empress here. You're on the path and you're cutting away everything that doesn't serve you. You're planting seeds the whole time. 10 of Pentacles. Like, you've made a home for yourself. In yourself. Like, you've come to terms with a lot of shit about yourself here. You're no longer balancing things that don't work for you. And that's why I feel like it's such a shock that this person's energy comes in as much as it does. And it leaves you always in this, like, moon energy of being like, what is it that I haven't worked through yet? I've worked through so much. The world, you just want to be done with it. Like, some of you are just like, I just want to travel. I just want to quit looking at all of this crap from before and realize all my options and how abundant I am now. You know, Queen of Wands, look at all the things I'm passionate about. Sitting on my throne here. I don't need to keep going back into the Hermit. You know, the Hermit mode is what this other person is in. That's why you're feeling that energy of like, like, because you've learned that lesson. But because you're telepathic, you're feeling their Hermit mode. You're feeling the end of their Hanged Man energy. You're feeling their lack of strength. And also feeling that they're looking to you as sort of this inspiration or this hope. Yeah, they're trying to get their mental and emotional state right before they bring something physically into balance. Yeah, they're destroying anything from before. They want to start with a clean slate if you'll have them, like if you'll talk to them. Because for many of them, this isn't like a rush into a romantic relationship. This is like, wow, this person was somebody I connected with deeper than any human I met before at a certain point, or maybe at all, right? And they're like, I destroyed it. I need to destroy what destroys the good things in my life and see if this person will even talk to me again. I would love to be friends with them again. I would love to reconnect because they're from the same place as me in this universe, right? Like, you got each other. You're both healers. This person's a healer and they think that they're a destroyer. They're like very backwards in that way because this thing has bridged with them and kind of thrown them in the back seat for a long time. And we have the thread here. This person's learning how to pull this thing out, but it's like unraveling a sweater. No, I'm not singing the Weezer song. I just heard that stupid Weezer song in my head. I'm like, no. I'm sorry if there's some like diehard Weezer fan on my channel, but no, I'm no more Weezer. But yes, my guides like to give me songs, and they've been driving me nuts with it lately. Alright, they kept singing me a Doja Cat song this week about a lot of people being like very jealous about, like, I think for some of you it's actually about like if you have a new person that you're with, that you've been with for a while, this person might be looking in on your social media and being like jealous about it, because I was hearing Streets by Doja Cat, which is about like, you know, getting angry when somebody else is with your man or whatever. So embarrassing. I don't know. Yeah, this like original person that got really sidetracked for a couple years, or many years for some of you, wants to work at it. They want to build a house with you. You know, build a home. Maybe not physically, maybe for some of you it is physically, because I have the Queen of Pentacles here. They want to have like an established life with you. And this is like, why now? Like, and why now is answered by the fact that as a collective, like, people are being freed from this. Especially if if you knew this person was like highly traumatized from whatever they'd been through in their life, and they were working through a lot of shit when you knew them, that's why they're being freed from it, because these archonic energies took advantage. I'm gonna throw that on the floor. Yeah. They want to release and help you release any negativity around this connection that was existing before. They're wondering if they can do that with you, because they feel like they didn't take responsibility before. And Spirit is saying they definitely didn't take responsibility before. Like, that's not them just thinking that. Like, that's true. I'm hearing this person's higher self saying, I should have seen this coming. They actually got some kind of intuitive hit, even if they weren't very spiritual, that something was going to get messed up if they didn't start taking responsibility for their emotions and their anger. And they ignored it. And it really threw off your stability. Like, you had to rebuild after this person in a big way. And it threw off their mental stability. I think this person's still kind of off since losing you. But they've been slowly working through and ending this cycle. You know, the fire on here is like they're burning the candle at both ends, trying to fix things so that they're financially abundant enough to be of assistance to you. Because many of you knew this person when you were like destitute or like really down and out, and they couldn't help you even though they wanted to. And especially if this was like, if you're somebody who was with a man, they might have had some very like, no, I'm hearing they did have a lot of like set ideas about what it means to be a man. and they thought that they should be able to come through any financial obstacles, but they couldn't then. Now, if you weren't with a man, then it's a little bit different. If this was not a man that you were with, then the issue was that they struggled to tell you their truth because it never felt safe to them in their life to be honest about their emotions, and it messed up everything. Yeah, instead they would go into this like rage type of energy because they felt defensive. They just wanted to feel equal, but there may have been gender rules or like gender dynamics at play. For those of you who are not, who like don't follow gender rules and are like me, or like you're non-binary or genderqueer in some way, they're saying that basically what was happening is this person is realizing they had a lot to learn when they knew you, and that you may have been right about more things than they realized, but you acquiesced. And I'm hearing we were both wrong. This is like you blaming yourself for stuff that was not all yours, okay? And for a lot of you, there was somebody like taking from the other, and the other person was pretending they didn't know because they loved them. There was love here. There still is love here. This is a relationship that has a lot of potential if you still want it. And you don't have to still want it. But this person's trying to think of some kind of strategy to come back in a way that won't be harmful to you. They want to make sure they're not doing any more damage because they feel like they seriously messed up your freedom. Whether it's your freedom of thought, by like messing with your head, because this person could be manipulative. They know that they were being manipulative when this archonic energy came through because they still remember the things that happened. But they're almost like, why did I make that decision? Like, why was that okay to me? And it's because they were accepting that. Like, they were under influence, but you always, even whenever you're under complete influence of a negative entity, like, you're agreeing to those things because we always have free will. Yeah, with Butterfly and the soul here, they just had a lot of growing to do and realizing their power. You know, it's almost like the butterfly struggling out of the chrysalis, but then it's able to fly. It's strong enough to fly. And I'm being told that this person's ancestors are a big part of why they're being freed now. Their ancestors were pissed that this was allowed to go on as long as it did. And that this archonic energy came in and this person wouldn't stand up for themselves to it. They thought that they were just a bad person. And their ancestors like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, why'd you do this? And for some of them, like, Sekhmet actually came through. If they're connected to Sekhmet, Sekhmet was like, nope, no more of this. Like, I raised this person from ancient Egypt. I taught them everything they know, and they should not be doing this. And, you know, I think they got their ass handed to them by Sekhmet, or no, it is by Sekhmet, and other deities that they were connected to. Because that's part of their penance, I'm hearing, for like knowing better and still doing this and harming you in the process and other people as well. Okay, I have the Raven card here, so I'm being told to connect back to the crows. The crows are our animal guides navigating this message, so they want to change topics. And yes, I know crows aren't ravens, but that's how they gave me the message right now, so be kind. Ooh, what's that? Ooh, we got some Egyptian energies on the board here. Peregrine falcon. Observation. Horus has something to do with this connection. It's like they're showing me the story of Osiris and how, like, Isis put his body back together after he was killed by his brother. And, Horus was born from that. And I feel like that is going to be the renewal of this relationship. It's like this whole thing was cut up and it wasn't supposed to be. And what your guides want you to know is that even if you're connected and you're an embodiment of Isis, you're not the Isis in this situation to put this person back together. Okay? This is something they had to do. They had to, like, unlock their inner Isis to be able to do this. Look, we have a pyramid. Yeah, they had to rebuild one stone at a time. Some of them actually learned about crystals through this because they were being coerced into something very, very bad, very negative by this energy that was on them or in them or however you want to think of it. This person was either being coerced into unaliving themselves or there's some dark shit coming up. Okay, we won't get into all that, but they were having some very messed up beliefs come through, or thoughts come through their mind, I suppose. And at one point, this person has, a lot of them have very intense mother issues also, but that's for somebody. As they were experiencing this, and this thing, there was one night where they were like in bed or in their room having almost like a break because of this. And what happened is they could hear your voice, like praying for them. Like your prayer actually came through because you could sense it. I think you sensed when this person needs help and you still will like send energy because you care about them. Even if they really hurt you, I feel like you have this like childlike love for everybody. We have agape here with a bunch of crystals. Yeah, like you were like still helping this person and being like, your higher self was like, you need to be in warrior mode. You watched me go through warrior mode. Do it. Like, show up. And this person could hear your voice or feel your energy around in some way. And it was almost like you opened a doorway and allowed a bunch of angels or a bunch of your protectors or their protectors to come through after they were blocked. And they cleared enough of this that this person realized what was happening and was like, holy shit, this is real. Like, this person's really fucking tapped in, and I can't believe I wasn't understanding that before. This person's literally a spiritual mentor, and what did I do to them? Like, I had vows with this person. I made them promises, And they had this whole realization this whole understanding that was different after that. And they're looking back now at the times you had together and being like, wow, I don't even know how to feel about this. Like, I miss this person, and I can't believe that I acted so vastly different in the time I knew them. They saw all sides of me, and they still send me love. Like, what the this person is like shocked, and it's caused them to completely change. It's caused them to completely get a hold of their thoughts. That's what they're doing. They're getting a hold of their thoughts right now. Before, they were in this very jaded energy. They've been like that since they were a kid. I mean, a lot of you, your person, whether you know this or not, went through some of the worst shit that a child can go through because they're a high-level healer. And I'm not saying that that's like makes it okay, but that happens to a lot of us, myself included, okay? And this person was so jaded from it, they couldn't get it together. They were just upset, and they felt like an old person. They were just so done with everything when you knew them. And I think that you knew this about them to some degree, that they were kind of jaded. And you have your own traumas, right? But I feel like you weren't understanding theirs completely. Like, there was something about the way they handled it or didn't handle it that didn't quite click for you. And you were always just like, I don't really know why they do that. Yeah, they would become incredibly mean sometimes. And it was a defense mechanism. I'm not making excuses for this person either. Like, abuse is abuse, but it was because they felt like they needed to defend themselves. They have lived a life of being hunted when they were a kid. Like, there was some kind of very violent, very traumatic scenario where this person was hunted to some degree or made to feel like prey. And I don't think they know how to voice that. But this is something that they've realized now. And they've realized a lot about how that probably didn't make sense to you. And that's part of what they want to come back and talk about. This person is honestly like, it's totally up to you whether or not you take this person back, because I can't see into every single person's life on a collective reading and see if this person did terrible stuff to you, because there's a certain point where no, don't let that person back in if it's going to traumatize you. But if this was a relationship that became more toxic because of you both just being traumatized people and dealing with a lot of stuff, and you actually know that this person has a good heart, and you're like, I can't believe that this happened this way. Like, I'm so confused. They want to make it right with you. They want to, like, instead of having this fortress or this castle of trauma, they want to, like, build a castle with you and, like, protect this connection. And again, I don't feel like this person has bad intentions. I feel like this is a very pure thing that they want to do. And they don't have expectations. They have hopes and they have dreams, but they don't have expectations of you. It's very wholesome. This is somebody who just knows that you're soul family in some way, and they're like, wow, I regret that I let this happen, and that I couldn't get it together. I just got all the same cards, and we've already gone over this, so. Let me ask a little bit more about this. So, deck is all discombobulated. Sorry, guys. First message, trust yourself. Like I was saying earlier, this person really shook your belief in your, not even your belief, but like your trust in your intuition. And with all of these different animals here, like you are surrounded by animal protectors and plant protectors and the earth itself and elementals. Like you're not going to have to worry about this person wheedling their way back in. You're going to know, way in advance if there's an issue here that you should just like avoid. Okay. But I'm here to deliver the message early so that you can get those things, get those messages, okay? And learn that they are for you. With spirals of manifestation coming up in reverse, this cycle of like in and out with this person or like confusion or chaos around this person is ending. There's a goal on both sides here, because I feel this from your energy too, to finalize whatever this is. For, better or worse, just be done, And I think that some of you really don't want this person back in. I think it's a few of you, I don't feel like it's everybody. I think I'm mostly reading for a majority who would want to speak to this person again, but it's totally okay if you don't. That doesn't mean anything bad, and there will be, if you're not with somebody right now and you want to be as a divine partner, that person will show up to you. But this needs to end. This whole situation needs to end, and it needs to end in compassion for yourself first and foremost, because you did have to tolerate some stuff you shouldn't have had to. That much is very, very clear. And like you kept it classy somehow. Like you could have been way worse to this person. And you kept the faith. Yeah, if you're not feeling inspired to talk to this person again, keep in mind you are going to get what you need to close this cycle out. Whether it's just, receiving the telepathy part. That might be enough for you, For others, you might find peace in other ways. Because you don't need another person to come back to give you closure, okay? You never do. Closure is something you give yourself. So if you choose that, you can do that, and Spirit will make the way for that. But for some of you, you really are going to get closure from this person. And I'm not saying wait around for them. That's not what I'm saying. But I think they will be coming back for most of you. And it might not be like the kind of offer that you would expect from somebody you knew this well. Because they want to come off as thoughtful and respectful of the fact that they haven't seen you in a long time. So they're not going to send you this like long, winding, emotional message. They're just going to be like, I hope things are well for you. Or you know what I mean? Something like that. They do have more wisdom than the last time you saw them. This person's made a turnaround. They're a better person than they were. They really want to ensure that you can maintain your dignity, because they did things to erode your dignity, some of them. Or just the way they spoke to you was very rude or like uncalled for at times. And they know that you struggle with memories of that. So some of them aren't sure yet if they can come back in because of that. Like they don't want to make it worse. And that's something this person needs to have courage about. Like they'll know the difference. Spirit will tell them, and your higher self will tell them. But they are aspiring to come back. Yeah, right now they are building up the strength to do this, as I was saying. Because one of the biggest things that they're dealing with is with happiness in reverse and endurance coming up right after. They're having a lot of emotional issues after this, like realizing what happened and regretting it and just feeling like a bad person. And, probably for some of them, they really were a bad person, and that's something they need to sit with, because you can change yourself every day. I don't think it's worth judging people if they're really trying now, you know? You know, if they did do something to really harm you, you can do whatever you want. You know what I mean? Like, you can judge them if you want to, and that's okay. That's part of the healing process. But I'm saying, like, for somebody that hasn't victimized you in particular, try to be accepting that people come from all backgrounds, right? Because there are people that are healers in the spiritual community even, who live very dark people. And a lot of us do, like, go down that path to some degree at times whenever we are in our awakening process. And that dark night of the soul is so way out there. But I think this person has, and is just like, wow, like, I can't believe it. And they're just hoping that you can receive them and see who they are. If they were hiding who they were. Yeah, they've been diving for light for a long time. They did this. They want to reunite with you after this storm. Like, they might even bring you a gift. For a lot of you, it's like the gift of an apology. It's way fucking overdue, or like an invitation I'm hearing for somebody. Invitation. Okay, so I just heard birthday party. Somebody might be invited to a birthday party. What was I just saying about judgment? Like, you can't make it up. Free from judgment, free to love. So this person's letting go of their own judgments of self before they show up to you, because they don't want you to feel like they're not expecting you even necessarily to forgive them, but they want to make it. They want to. You do, but they don't want to show up and put that onus on you. You know, so they want to be clear. Because they know that you can read their energy. And they do have, you know, even though they don't have expectations, they do have a vision of where they would like this to go. But they're open. They're going to be regaining their inspiration. That's what I'm hearing. Some of you, I get this message all the time. There must be a lot of writers in my collective, but the word wants to be written. Definitely journal about this right now. This is a very good time to reflect on any emotions that are coming up about your life. It'll help you get clarity on the situation and if you want to allow this in, because you do have free will. Is there anything else, please, Spirit? Okay, these are the final messages. Okay, they really want to, it says softly, softly, the tender touch. This person wants to make amends for ways that they've hurt you and apologize. They want to have this very vulnerable conversation with you, but they understand that they don't want to push anything that would hurt you. I do feel like this person has grown. And I do think that their guides and your guides are overseeing this process and making sure that you don't get hurt. Whatever you choose, release the dark wound. Let love live. You know, don't wait around for this person to give yourself closure. Try not to feel, you know, if you do want this person to come back, try not to obsess over when they'll be back. Really focus on how your emotions are feeling in your body. And if you're not feeling great, how can you at least get to neutral? Or do something small to make it better for yourself? Because ultimately, you know, we come in alone and we leave alone. And everybody that we meet reunites with us on the other side, for sure. And in spirit, they're always with us. But, you know, you need to be able to be in your own corner, too. You need to be safe in your own energy and in your own emotions. So try to take care of yourself. So that's what I have for you guys today. That was like a really wild, crazy message. Okay, last thing I want to share because we just opened to it. Seeing the true you. I think that for those of you who do want to have this meeting, you're going to really see each other clearly for the first time. And I think it's going to lead to good things, no matter what happens with both of you. So that's really gorgeous, actually. So yeah, let me know what you think in the comments if this resonated for you. I appreciate everybody who takes the time to leave me comments, send me emails, send me generous donations. It's very much appreciated, and it allows me to do this work and show up for you guys in the way that I do. Thank you to everybody who shops on my website. I have crystals and energy tools there. And also to everybody who books spiritual coaching with me, one-on-one energy healings, readings, and animal communication. So that's what I have for you guys. I hope that this helps whoever it's meant to, and I'm sending you love and peace. Bye.